Why is it so hard to take action? Why do we often feel stuck, unable to start, even when we know what we want to achieve? Maybe you've told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll take that leap when I'm ready. But here's the truth. Readiness never comes, and waiting for motivation is like chasing a mirage. The problem isn't the size of the task ahead. It's the fear of failure, the weight of past experiences, and the stories we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do. But what if I told you there's a way out? A way to break free from the mental chains holding you back and to create unstoppable momentum in your life. In this audiobook, we're going to explore two powerful frameworks that, when combined, can transform the way you approach action. The science of atomic habits and the wisdom of the courage to be disliked. From atomic habits, we'll uncover how small, consistent actions can compound into extraordinary results. You'll learn how to design your habits to work for you rather than against you, and how systems, not goals, lead to sustainable success. And from the courage to be disliked, we'll explore the mindset shifts that free you from the fear of judgment and failure. You'll discover how to stop living for others' expectations, embrace your authentic self, and take bold steps toward the life you truly want. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have both the mindset and the tools to force yourself to take action, no matter how daunting the task. So, if you're ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start building the life you deserve, click the subscribe button and let's dive in. Small actions, courageous choices. This is your roadmap to transformation. Part 1. The courage to be disliked. Have you ever found yourself holding back because of fear? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even fear of standing out? Most of us have. It's natural to feel this way because, deep down, we all crave acceptance. We want to be liked. But here's a surprising truth from the courage to be disliked. Living a fulfilling life often requires rejecting the need for external approval. It's about embracing what psychologist Alfred Adler called the courage to be disliked. This isn't about being reckless or ignoring others. It's about breaking free from the invisible chains of societal expectations and choosing a life that aligns with your values and goals. Adlerian psychology tells us that our lives aren't determined by our past. Trauma, hardships, and failures don't have to define us. Instead, we are defined by the meaning we assign to those experiences and the goals we choose to pursue moving forward. It's not what happened to you that matters. It's how you choose to respond. Let's consider an example. Imagine someone who's always dreamed of starting a business but feels paralyzed by self-doubt. They might say, I can't take that risk because I failed before. Or, what if I embarrass myself? But Adler's philosophy challenges this mindset. He would say that these fears aren't caused by past failures. They're created by the person's present goal to avoid discomfort. In other words, our fears often serve a purpose. They protect us from pain, embarrassment, or rejection. But they also trap us in inaction. The key to breaking free is recognizing that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite the fear. This is what Adlerian psychology calls teleology, or focusing on your future goals rather than being stuck in the causality of your past. It's not, what happened to me? But, what am I going to do next? When you embrace this perspective, you take back control of your life. And here's where the magic happens. When you let go of the need for external validation, you become free to take bold steps toward your dreams. You realize that being disliked or facing failure isn't the end of the world. It's simply part of the journey toward growth and authenticity. Think about it this way. Every time you hold yourself back because of fear, you're choosing comfort over progress. But every time you take a small step forward, even if it's scary, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. This brings us to the connection between the courage to be disliked and atomic habits. Building a life of action and progress isn't just about courage, it's also about strategy. While courage gives you the mindset to start, habits give you the systems to keep going. Part 2. Atomic habits and taking small steps. So, you've embraced the courage to start. You've decided to move past fear, but now you're wondering, how do I actually make progress? How do I stay consistent? This is where the brilliance of atomic habits comes in. James Clear's philosophy is simple yet powerful. Success doesn't come from massive, overnight changes. It comes from the small, daily habits you build, tiny actions that compound over time into extraordinary results. The key is understanding how habits work and designing them to fit your life. The habit loop: cue, craving, response, reward. Every habit follows the same process, known as the habit loop, which consists of 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. Let's break it down with a simple example. Drinking more water. 1. Cue, the trigger that reminds you to act. This could be seeing a water bottle on your desk. 2. Craving, the motivation to take action. You feel thirsty and want to stay hydrated. 3. Response, the actual habit. You pick up the bottle and take a sip. 4. Reward, the benefit you receive. You feel refreshed and energized. By understanding this loop, you can create habits that stick. You can also identify and break bad habits by interrupting this cycle. The 4 laws of behavior change. Now, let's talk about how to build good habits and break bad ones using the 4 laws of behavior change. These laws are like a cheat code for rewiring your behavior. 1. Make it obvious. The first step is to create clear cues. If you want to start a new habit, make it visible and impossible to ignore. For example, if you want to work out in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow so you're reminded to read before bed. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your habits. Design your space to make the good habits obvious and the bad ones harder to access. 2. Make it attractive. The second law is to make your habit appealing. When something feels enjoyable, you're more likely to stick with it. Use a strategy called temptation bundling. Pair a habit you need to do with something you want to do. For example, allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast only while walking or exercising. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to adopt. Behavior is contagious. Being around motivated individuals will inspire you to take action. 3. Make it easy. Next, reduce friction. The easier a habit is to start, the more likely you are to do it. This is where the 2-minute rule comes in. Start small. If you want to build a habit of running, commit to putting on your running shoes and stepping outside for 2 minutes. That's it. Often, the hardest part is starting, and once you've begun, you'll naturally keep going. Clear puts it perfectly. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So, create systems that make it effortless to act. 4. Make it satisfying. Finally, reward yourself. Humans are wired to repeat behaviors that feel good. Use immediate rewards to reinforce habits. For example, after a workout, treat yourself to a smoothie or mark off a habit tracker. For breaking bad habits, reverse this law. Make the bad habit unsatisfying by adding accountability. For example, tell a friend your goal and ask them to check in on your progress. The 4 laws of behavior change give you a roadmap for building habits that last. But here's the real power. When you combine these habits with the mindset shifts from the courage to be disliked, you not only change your actions, you change your identity. Part 3. Combining mindset and action. So far, we've explored 2 transformative ideas: the courage to embrace change from the courage to be disliked, and the power of small, consistent actions from atomic habits. But here's where the magic really happens. When you combine mindset and action, you create unstoppable momentum in your life. Think about it. Courage gives you the mindset to step outside your comfort zone. Habits give you the structure to stay consistent and turn those bold choices into lasting change. Together, they help you not just dream about the life you want, but actually build it. Let's start with a common challenge: procrastination. Why do we delay taking action, even when we know what needs to be done? Adlerian psychology tells us that procrastination is often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. But instead of addressing that fear head-on, we create excuses and distractions to avoid discomfort. Now, imagine pairing this insight with the atomic habits approach. Instead of focusing on the fear, focus on creating a system to lower the barrier to action. Remember the 2-minute rule? The idea is to make the first step so small and easy that it feels impossible to fail. For example, want to start exercising? Commit to just putting on your workout clothes. Want to tackle a big work project? Start by opening the document and writing one sentence. The courage comes in making that first move, no matter how small. Once you do, you'll often find the fear starts to fade. Action reinforces identity. Here's another powerful connection between courage and habits. Your actions shape your identity, and your identity shapes your actions. From the courage to be disliked, we learn that happiness isn't something you pursue. It's something you choose in the present moment. Similarly, Atomic Habits teaches us that every small habit is a vote for the person you want to become. When you show up and take action, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who gets things done. For example, if you want to become a writer, don't focus on finishing a book. Focus on the habit of writing for 2 minutes every day. With every session, no matter how short, you're casting a vote for the identity of "I am a writer." Over time, that identity becomes part of who you are. But what about breaking bad habits? Those actions we repeat that don't align with who we want to be. This is where mindset and action work together again. First, embrace the courage to accept responsibility for your choices. Recognize that you are not controlled by your past or your environment. Then, apply the 4 laws of behavior change in reverse. 1. Make the bad habit invisible. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, keep junk food out of sight. 2. Make it unattractive. Remind yourself of the negative consequences of the bad habit. 3. Make it difficult. Add friction to the habit. For example, delete social media apps from your phone if they're distracting you. 4. Make it unsatisfying. Create accountability by involving others. By addressing both the mindset behind the habit and the systems supporting it, you create a clear path to change. Remember, every small step matters. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. What you need is the courage to start and the commitment to keep showing up, one action at a time. When you combine the mindset of the courage to be disliked with the actionable strategies of Atomic Habits, you stop waiting for change and start creating it. You move from fear to progress, from inaction to momentum. And the best part? With every step forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable of becoming the person you want to be. The journey to lasting change. The courage to be disliked and Atomic Habits. Together, they provide the mindset and the tools to overcome fear, build momentum, and create lasting change in your life. Here's the most important takeaway. Progress isn't about massive leaps. It's about small, intentional actions, repeated consistently over time. It's about embracing the courage to take that first step, even when it feels uncomfortable, and trusting that every tiny action will compound into something extraordinary. What we've learned. Let's recap some of the key lessons. From the courage to be disliked, we learned that happiness and progress come when you stop seeking validation and start living authentically. Your past doesn't define you. What matters is the meaning you give to your experiences and the goals you set for yourself. From Atomic Habits, we discovered the power of systems over goals. Success doesn't come from motivation alone. It comes from creating habits that align with the person you want to become. When you combine these ideas, you unlock the ability to take consistent action, no matter how daunting the challenge. The power of starting now. So, where do you go from here? You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. All you need to do is take one small step today. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? Then, choose one habit, no matter how small, that casts a vote for that identity. Maybe it's writing one sentence, drinking one glass of water, or spending 2 minutes meditating. Whatever it is, start small and start now. Remember, courage and habits go hand in hand. Courage gets you started, and habits keep you going. The journey to lasting change isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself, day after day, and trusting the process. So, take a deep breath, believe in your ability to grow, and take that first step. Because the life you want is built one small habit and one courageous choice at a time. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Share it with someone who could use a little extra courage or a fresh start. And remember, the journey doesn't stop here. Keep building, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. I'll see you in the next audiobook. Until then, take action and make it happen.